Jahin told, in this video lecture, we are going to start the what are the goals of HCI, what is basically introduction of HCI. Okay, what is HCI? That is human computer interface, or we can say the human computer interaction. So, what is the interaction? Let's discuss. So, human computer interaction is also known as the MMI, that is man machine interaction, and it also known as human computer interaction. Okay, so in the study of interaction between people, or we can say that the user and the computer, that's the old term belongs to HCI, human computer interaction. So basically here the interaction between the users and the computer. So it is also known as the human computer interaction. It is also known as the man-machine interaction. It is also known as the computer-human interaction. In both the three terms, basically human or people or user will interact with the machine, with the computer. So, with today technology and tools and our motivation to create really effective and usable interface and the screen. So, why do we continue to produce systems that are inefficient and confusing, or at worst just plain unusable? Is it because we don't care, we don't possess common sense, we don't have the time? But it's not true. We actually make the interface interactive so that many people, many users will visit your interface, will attract your user face, so that you will earn more money. If the interface will be interactive, attractive, people will be user more friendly, people will attract more. Okay, so we still don't know what really makes good design. So let's discuss what makes a really good design. So there are basically rules. Schneider's means a golden rule, that is not guideline, that is rules. Okay, so you can follow these rules and you make your design, you make your interface good. So what is the definition of the HCI? Okay, human computer interaction is a discipline concerned with design, evolution and implementation of interactive computing system for human use and with the study of major phenomena surrounding them. Okay, so basically human computer interaction is the complete discipline which concerned with what is the design, what is the evolution and what is the implementation of interactive computing system. Okay, so what are the basic goals of HCI? So basic goals of HCI, or we can say that human computer interaction, is that to improve the interaction between users and the computer. How you improve the interaction? If you make the interface user friendly, and by making computer more usable and receptive to the user needs. If you fulfill all the needs with the interface, user will attract on your interface. And what are the long term goals of a HCI? To design system that minimize the barrier between the human cognitive model of what they want, and to accomplish the computer understanding of the user task. So these are basically goals of HCI. We have to fulfill, we have to achieve these goals in the HCI. So what are the role of human factor? Human factor maintain the basic almost 100% role. If user will use your interface, it will attract interface that will be earn more money. Okay, for example, you are making a Ludo game, okay, in a Play Store. So if you search, there are so many Ludo games are there. So who will attract the user? The interface will attract the user. Okay, so these are the human role of human factor. How many people will attract toward the interface? So we wish to design for the layman user. So layman users that know nothing. Okay, so we have to design the interface like that, that person that don't know anything but will able to understand what the interface will do. Okay, so we wish to design for the layman user. Who are they? Why to bother about such characteristics? Because these are the role of human factor very important in the human computer interaction. So difference in expectation in needs of the user. Suppose there are three types of user: a layman user who don't know nothing, moderate user who know very much, okay, and the technical user who know everything. So there is difference in expectation between the layman user, the moderate user, and the expert user. So we have to meet the expectations of the all three user, because for us all three users are important. So we classify the users. Okay, so this is the user classification. So we need to know the users in order to design genre classification of the user. Again, there are three types of users: that novice, and the second one is the intermittent, and the third one is the expert user. Okay, novice means nothing, no. Okay, means it is new to your interface, it is a new user who don't know nothing, and intermittent who know little bit, and the expert who know everything. For example, you have to save a file, you have to use the shortcut key control plus S through menu option in MS Word. So this control plus S for shortcut for everybody, for novice, for intermittent, and the expert. For novice, you have to tell control S is used for the save, intermittent is no, and the expert is also known to this shortcut. Okay, so you have to remember the expectation of three users to design the interface or to design the commands. So there are many interdisciplinary where HCI will be used. So identify human factor in different interdisciplinary and incorporate those in the design require knowledge and the expertise in many fields of the study. So let's discuss the many things of the studies are user centric design and computing. The first factor is the human factor. Of course, you are making an interface, you are making a game, you are making a website, you are designing a software, everything for what? For user. Okay, so these is a human factor contain the most important role. Okay, next is design. Design including industrial design. Okay, so design contains some guidelines. According to that guideline, we have to design our interface. For example, on a window, when you see on the right top of right side, close button. For close is everything for close the window. Okay, so these are the guidelines you have to follow while designing your interface. And the social sciences means the what the software is used, what the software you develop, what are the prospective customer for that. Okay, for example, when you are designing a game, that's prospective customer is the children's or kids. Okay, anthropology, again human factor depend on the interface designing. Artificial intelligence, so sometimes you use a interface where you just speak and your work is done. Okay, so you have to introduce the artificial intelligence like speech recognition. Okay, with the help of speech you can command your computer, command your interface to do the tasks. For example, Alexa, whatever you want, you just speak, this speech, your speech will be converted into the text and the command will be executed at that time. Machine learning, you have to make a model and you have to train the model. Suppose for example, Alexa initially not trained, but time to time the Alexa will be trained accordingly. Okay, computational linguistics, so there is a some different languages. For example, if you are taking a India, ठीक है, okay, तो speech of different area will be different. Suppose you are making expectation, in south you will go expectation, okay, in north this is expectation. So same word contains many three different speak, okay. So this is the computational language. Whatever you make the model, it will be computational linguistic. And the computer science and engineering, that is the primary discipline of any of designing any user interface. And the last one is the psychological, including cognitive psychology. So okay, cognitive means what user want to know. That must be your first priority to designing the interface. So different design perspective. So we have to design the interface for different perspective. As a designer perspective, as a industrial product designer, as an electronic engineer. Let's discuss one by one. User centric design can be viewed by different stakeholder in different way. The first one is a designer. A designer is primarily concerned about the design of the interface element and the layout, the creative design aspects. So designer basically deals with what's the interface and how it is designed, how the layout of the interface will be effective. And for an industrial project designer, it might refer to the form, shape, size and look of the product. That means for industrial product designer, you just see the first look of your product. And electronic designer might look it as a adding more feature at the hardware level, such as more sensors, smaller chips to reduce the size, or more power efficient battery. For example, initially you use the cathode ray, okay, TV. Now you will come to the LCD, and moreover you will now move on the LED. So there are smaller chips and smaller sensor you include, and that's why its size will be compact comparatively. Now why is HCI important? Because user centric design is getting a crucial role, because the same product is, if you search any product, any game, any website, any software, there are lots of software are available. So what's the best, how to choose? The first impression is the first interface. So that's why HCI is important. So user centered design is getting a crucial role. So it is getting more important today to increase competitiveness via HCI studies. So Norman gave the HCI studies. In later we will discuss Norman's principles in 1990. So to live in the competitiveness via HCI, HCI play a crucial role. Okay. Next is high cost e-transformation investment. So for one software there is a high cost. So to maintain the high cost, to return back, to gain from the high cost, you just want the users to download, to use or to visit. So that's why this is the very important. Next is users lose time with badly designed product and services, and at the end they don't use your product, they don't visit your website, they don't download your software, and they will also rate 1 or 0. And what are the aftermath? Your product will be going downward. Okay, so HCI is very important role to play to any popularity of your website, of your software, or any product what you designed, what you made. Okay, and user even gave up using bad interface. That's the important. If user don't understand your interface, if user don't fulfill their requirement, they will give up very quickly and find the alternative of that. Okay, so ineffective allocation of resources. So what are the defining the user face? So user interface design is the subset of a field of study called human computer interaction. Okay, so sometimes you will use the term human computer interface, and interchangeably you can use the human computer interaction. So human computer interaction is the study, planning and design of how people and computer work together so that a person needs are satisfied in the most effective way. So human computer interaction is the study, is the planning and the designing of how people and computer work together so that people or person needs are satisfied in the most effective way. Okay, so you have to choose that interface so that you fulfill the user satisfaction, you fulfill the user requirement, you must satisfy the user but in the most effective way. So HCI designer must consider a variety of factors. So the first factor is what people want and expect, what are the physical limitations and what are the ability people possess. And the second factor is how information processing system network work, how the your product will able to give the information to the user very user friendly, very quickly, very understanding way. Okay, and the next one is the what people find enjoyable and attractive. If your interface will be attractive, the people will be attract towards your product. Okay, and the last factor is a technical characteristic. Suppose you have made a very effective interface. Okay, you have made very, you have designed very effective interface, so many people will visit and there is a technical issue, then what happened, they will give up. So only interface will doesn't play a crucial role, both the interface and the technical characteristics will make your product grown very rapidly. Okay, the last factor is that technical characteristics and limitation of the computer hardware and software must also be considered. We just know track only of the interface, we have to track with the interface as well as the technical characteristics so that user will attract because of your interface is attractive, and user will fulfill their requirement because you must have a technical characteristics to fulfill their requirements. And the next one is the user interface is the part of the computer and its software that people can use, can hear, can touch, or can talk to, or otherwise understand or direct. The user interface has essentially two components, the input and the output. So, input is how a person communicate his or her need to the computer. That's the input from the user point. Okay, and some common input components are there. User can input through the keyboard, through the mouse, through the trackball, one's finger with the touchpad and the one voice. So these are basically modes of input through which the user will give you the input. And what's about output? Output is how the computer convey the results of its computation and the requirement to the users. So today the most common computer output mechanism is the display screen. Okay, followed by mechanism that take advantages of the person auditory capability, voice and sound. So today you will see we can give the input through the voice as well. For example, Alexa, Siri. The use of the human sense of smell and touch output in interface design still remain largely unexplored. With the help of smell, you don't give the interface input, and with the help of touch, ठीक है? Okay. So this area remain unexplored, but there are many modes of giving input. You can use the text, you can use the touch, you can use the voice, you can use the sound. And the next thing is proper interface design will provide a mix of well designed input and the output mechanism that satisfy the user's need, user's capability, and the limitation in the most effective way possible. So the best interface, what is the best interface? The best interface is one that is not noticed, one that permit the user to focus on the information. Okay, so your interface must be like that. Users will not supposed to give the time to understand the interface. The user just supposed to focus on the information and the task at hand, not the mechanism used to present the information and perform the task. So what are the importance of a good design? So interface and the screen designs were really a matter of common sense. So we developers would have been producing almost identical screen for representing the real world. So what are the examples of bad designs? Closed door with complete wood. You can't see the outside. And what are the good interface design? That is the glass door. You can see the interface, the sunlight will come. Okay. So these are the examples of a good design and the bad design. So what are the importance of a good design? We never seems to have time to find out what make good designs, nor to properly apply it. After all, many of us have other things to do in addition to designing interface and the screen. So we take our best shot given the workload and the time constraint imposed upon us. The result too often is woefully inadequate. So a well designed interface, that's the importance of user interface. A well designed interface and the screen is terribly important to our users. So it is their window to view the capability of the system. If the interface will be attractive, so this is the first window, the prior window to seek the capability of the system. So it is also the vehicle through which many critical tasks are presented. So these tasks often have a direct impact on the organization relation with its customer and with its profitability. Okay. So this a screen layout and appearance affect a person in a varieties of ways. If they are confusing and inefficient, people will have greater difficulty in doing their jobs and will make more mistakes, and after that they will give up. So you have to make the interface like that. Users visit your website, user visit your software to seek some information, to do some task. So user don't confuse with the interface. User just visit the website, user just visit your software, user just visit your product, do its work and come back like that. So poor design may even chase some people away from a system permanently. Okay, user don't have time. So if user will stuck with the interface, they will give up from the permanently. So it can also lead to aggravation, it can also lead to frustration, and it can also increase stress to the user, and finally user gave up from your product. So you have to make the system, yeah, the interface will be attractive, because the interface is a vehicle through which the many critical tasks are performed, and it is a window through which the system capability can be shown. So, let us discuss the benefit of a good design. So, imagine this is a case study we discussed here. Imagine the productivity benefit we could gain through proper design. So, based on the actual system requiring processing of 4.8 million screen per year and illustrated in table 1.1. Okay, and analysis established that if poor clarity forced screen users to spend one extra second per screen, almost one additional person year would be required to process all the screen. So 20 extra second in screen uses times 8 to additional 14% year. So here the first column additional second required per screen in the system, and the additional person year required to process 4.8 million screen per year. So we have taken here data where 4.8 million screens are executed or are processed per year. So what happened if 1 second is increased? Okay, if you increase additional 1 second required per screen in second, so there is a 0.7 person year additional required. So if you increase from 1 to 5 second to visit your interface, and it will become 3.6 person year additional required. Okay, here the data is 4.8 million screen per year. So if the screen timing require additional 10 second for 4.8 million screen, it will take 7.1 additional person year. So if you increase the 20 seconds, so it will increase 14.2 person per year. So you can see here we have taken just 4.8 million screen visited process every year. So one extra second, one additional second will result into 0.7 additional person year. Extra 5 second will result 3.6 person per year. Extra 10 second will require 7.1 additional per year, and the 20 additional second require 14.2 additional year. So the benefit of a well designed screen have also been under experiment scrutiny for many years. So one researchers, for example, attempted to improve screen clarity and readability by making screen less crowded. So separate items which had been combined on the same display line to conserve space were placed on separate line instead. So the result, screen users were about 20% more productive with the less crowded version. So this is the benefit of a good design. You must understand with the case study we discussed here. So proper formatting of information on screen does not have a significant positive effect of performance. So in recent year, if you will see, we have make the proper formatting, that means it will a good design, it will give a good performance. That's not true. Okay, in designing. So in recent year, the productivity benefit of well designed web pages have also been scrutinized. So training costs are lowered because training time is reduced, and support line costs are lowered because fewer assist calls are necessary. If fewer assist calls you have to follow, so then support line cost will be lowered, and the employee satisfaction is increased because aggravation and frustrations are reduced, because with the help of a good design you just reduce the time. and ultimately that's an organization's customer benefit because of the improved service and receive. So identifying and resolving problems during the designs and development process also have significant economic benefit. If we are using, if we are able to identify, if we are able to resolve problems during the design time and the development time, then it will have significant economic benefit to the company. So how many screens are used each day in our technological words, and how many screens are used each day in your organization? It's thousands and millions. So keep in mind how many people are process your screen. So based on that you have to work, you have to design, you have to develop the interface as well as the capability of the software, so that there is no need of additional extra second. Additional extra second will convert into the person year. You will able to see, you would able to see in the previous study, additional 1 second will convert into 0.7 person year. So you have to remember for how, what are the prospective customers, it is in thousand, it is in million, or it is in hundred. So based on that you have to identify and resolve problem during the design and the development process. So this is also have a significant economical benefit to the company. So let's discuss the brief history of the human computer interface. Why we are using, why we are emphasized on the human computer interface. The need for people to communicate with each other has existing since we first walked upon the planet. Okay, so there is a need of communication between the two people. So the lowest and the most common level of communication modes we share are the movement and the gesture. So with the help of movement and the gesture, we are able to communicate our thoughts to the other and able to understand others' thought. Okay. So movement and gestures are language independent. There is no language. Based on the movement and based on the gesture, we are able to understand the feeling of other. Okay. And that is no need of the language. So that is, they permit people who do not speak the same language to deal with one another. So nowadays we are, if we are from the two different country and we don't know the language of each other, the first communication process through the gestures and the movement. Okay. So the next high level in term of universality and the complexity is spoken language. So most people can speak in that era one language, and some may speak two language or more language. So a spoken language is a very efficient mode of communication. Sometimes in the gestures we are not able to understand the feelings of other, but with the help of language we must understand what the other wants to say. Okay. So if both parties to the communication understand the spoken language, a very efficient mode of communication. So at the third and the highest level of complexity is the written language. So at that time, while most people speak, but all not people can write. Okay. So we just deal with the first level and the second level. The second level contains some deficiency and it move to the first level. Okay. So at the third and the highest level of complexity is written language, with most people speak, not all can write. So but for those who can, writing is still nowhere near as efficient a mean of communication as speaking. So in modern time we have the typewriter, another step upward in communication complexity. So significantly fewer people type than write. So while a practice typist can find typing faster and more efficient than handwriting, the unskilled may not find this the case. So spoken language, however, is still more efficient than typing, regardless of typing skill level. So its first few decades, a computer ability to deal with human communication was inversely related to what was easy for people to do. So the computer demanding rigid typed input through a keyboard, and the people responded slowly using the device and with varying degree of skills. So the human computer dialogues reflected the computer preference, consisting of one style or a combination of styles using keyboards, commonly referred to as a command language, questions and answers, menu selection, function key selection, and form fill in. So throughout the computer history, designers have been developing with varying degree of success other human computer interaction methods that utilize more general, widespread, and easy to learn capability. It can be voice or handwriting. The system that recognize human speech and handwriting now exist, although they still lack the universality and richness of the typed computer. So typed input will never fail, but the speech can be failed if there is a noise. So that's all about the brief history of the human computer interface. So hope you will understand what is HCI, why we use HCI, and what are the guidelines of HCI, and what are the brief history of HCI. So thank you everyone.